To help you better understand pricing and its impact on marketing strategy, let's walk through just a couple of problems that you might see again on an exam, but also point out the importance of pricing for the profitability of the organization. All right, sample problem 1 is marketing AMA t-shirts. My price is $10. The cost of the shirt's $6 plus a one-time setup fee of $50. We hope to sell 100 shirts, but what we really would like to know is, what are some of the numbers in here? So the margin is $10 minus $6, so $4. Revenue, if I sold 100 shirts, would be $1,000. Profit, if I sold 100 shirts, would be $350. And the break-even point is only 13 units. You can walk through this example using the formulas that we had previously. If any of this were to come up on an exam, of course, you should have those formulas right there at your fingertips so you're able to use them. Sample problem 2, the marketing AMA license plate frames. All right, so suggested price is $12 per frame plus that's $6 one-time setup fee of the price is $12, the cost is $6, and a one-time setup fee of $240. We hope to sell 100 license plate frames. Once again, the margin $6. Revenue $1,200. Potential profit is $360. The break-even point 40 frames. Once again, you have to work through that problem. Problem 3, you own one of 3 gas stations in a small town called Elke, a small town in northern Nevada, a mythical town, by the way. While the town is located on U.S. Highway 50, there is very little highway traffic coming through town. The next closest town is 75 miles away. Total demand for gas is about 12,000 gallons a week, and you hold a 1/3 market share. The price of gasoline at all 3 stations is $3.59.9 per gallon, and the variable cost is $3.33 per gallon. You lease your station based on the number of gallons you sell, so as a result, there are no fixed costs. Jack Shell Game Station just across the street has just dropped their price from $3.59.9 to $3.54.9. What would you do? All right, remember the break-even analysis that we talked about before? We talked about this before. We have a sample break-even chart here. This is, and this was in your book. This is important for you to sort of get the idea of where the break-even points are on all of these things. You'll notice that this is the break-even point. 400 frames. If I sold 800 frames, I'd make $32,000. If I sold 2,000 frames, I make $128,000. So this is the calculating break-even points and then profits. Working through this. All right. So once again, you ought to be familiar with these, and you ought to make sure that these numbers make sense to you. All right, so here's an example of the gross profit margin problem that we had before. You produce a mid-sized car that sells for $25,000. The cost is $18,000 to produce the car. If you suddenly decide you need to provide a rebate, a $3,000 rebate, that is a cash rebate, how many more cars do you need to sell to obtain the same amount of profit as before the rebate? Well, the current profit margin is $7,000. That is $18,000 minus 25, or $25,000 minus $18,000, or $7,000 divided by 25, or 28%. The price reduction is a 12% reduction in price, and so I can easily make this calculation. That is 28 divided by 28 minus 12, which is 0.16 minus 1. 0.28 divided by 0.16 is 1.75, or 75% more cars. So if I were selling 10,000 cars the prior month with the rebate, you would need to sell 17,500 cars the next month to make the same amount of profit. And of course, you have to ask yourself, how likely is that to happen? You can walk through this example again and again to sort of see how you make this calculation. Once again, not a difficult calculation, but it emphasizes the importance of the idea that every time I reduce price, it comes directly out of my profit margin.